What's going on, guys, and welcome back. It is your boy Eileo here with another account review. Now in today's account review, it is done by, it is the account of Nrj. So without further ado, you guys, let's get into it. Alright, so starting off with number one. We need to really talk about gem quality here, Nrj, because there's something seriously amiss with this account, and I'm not calling you out in, I'm not calling you out in a way to make you feel bad, but this hopefully will serve as a learning point for a lot of you guys if you're in the same boat here. But initially, I mean, if you click on everything, all of his mons have matching sets, which makes me very, very scared when I see that, because you're only level 41 and your mons have matching sets. There's probably a big compromisation here, and congratulations, there is. For example, let's go over here to Fire Shiva. Evo 3, not a big deal, perfectly fine. Right off the bat, no resist. He's on a broken set. But wait, there's more. If we click on this, he has a flat attack gem on it. I'm not over here being very specific about, oh, it has to be percents. We're not talking about that. You're level 42 or 41. It has an attack gem on it. Okay. He has another attack gem on it. And then we come over here and he has an HP gem on it. The issue here, though, is that Shiva is a defender, but you're building him with more attack, even though his skills stunning and adrenaline, which is based off HP, is not based on attack at all. That's why I'm like, okay, we need to have a talk here. Now, this reoccurs on the account over and over and over again. It seems like you may just be throwing sets on mine just to have sets on them, but it doesn't matter if your mine is on a full set or a broken set. I highly recommend broken set, especially for newer players. Even myself, I have a whole bunch of broken sets just because it's very difficult to get a good set going on. But when you take a set and you just compromise, you build mons like this, which you are able to do the content that you're having issues with. It's just that your mons aren't built the way that they should be built. I'm not saying a defender type can't be built more offensively like would Zubaji, but when you're building mons, take a look at their typing first before you start throwing gems on them. Take a look at what their skills are. Stunning and adrenaline has nothing to do with attack. Stunning and adrenaline means I need some resist, I need some HP for survivability, and since adrenaline is his healing skill, or adrenaline is one of his skills, maybe I should focus more on HP than anything else. That's how I would go about building up these mons. Same thing here with, who was it? Was it your Merlin? He has a recovery gem on him. Why? He's not a healer. If you have like a Wood Hana, then I can understand you having recovery on her. If you have like a Water Bass, which you do, I can understand having recovery on her. But Fire Merlin, even if you're not using him, you're just throwing gems on him, which is a really big issue here, because yeah, it looks good, but HP recovery on a Merlin, let's say you don't even use him. If you don't even use him, don't have any gems on him at all. This is a very big issue with this account, and it's probably holding you back a lot more than what you anticipate. One more example before we move on, though. Drekka has an attack gem on it. There's a defense gem, and there's an attack gem. That in this situation is perfectly fine. Not a big deal at all. You got this one right. But I would just go through your mons and readdress what they have on them, because these gems are just making your mons perform very, very poorly, and I'm not sure you're not the only one out there. So if you see this video, check your gems. If you haven't already, you can check out my videos. If you don't like my videos, you can check out Odin's Son. There's Reddit, there's Discords about it, and if you don't want to use any of those, feel free to sit right there and test these mons out yourself. If I'm building an attacker, why is my attacker on triple defense? If I'm building a tank which excels in having a whole bunch of HP, why would I give it excessive attack when its attack stat is dirt nasty low and it doesn't have any hard-hitting moves at all? Just something to address, but I figured I would bring that up because it is a very, very important learning point for anyone of any level, just to help excel their account. So with that out of the way, guys, let's go ahead and move on to the next part. Alright, so next up, you had addressed me about maybe doing B11. I can tell you, since I've went through the account, I 100% do not recommend you doing B11 right now. You are not B11 ready, not because you don't have the mons for it, just because your gym quality is so insufficient, I'm not going to put you through that suffering. So what my personal suggestion is that you let B11 go for at least 1 or 2 months, and we'll come back to it later. So what we're going to do is actually, I'm going to break down some teams for you real quick of what you can use for each of the golems, just to help you farm up gems and get your gem quality to what it needs to be. Alright, so for your B7 team right here, I have a Wood Yaksha, Wood Indra, Wood Miho, and then a Dark Harley, because she does have Elemental Edge. If you can get her gems nice and crisp, then she should serve you well as a wave clearer, not only for here, but for B9 as well. But this is just a team I picked out of the mons that you have built. Obviously, Indra, he has stun and thirst, I believe, so he's not going to be too much DPS. But since he is an Evo 3, Nat 5, why not bring him in there for the extra stats? Wood Miho or Wood Yaksha, you could switch out with Arthur, but it shouldn't really matter at this point. As long as Indra and Dark Harley are doing the job, this should be a sufficient team for you. Once again though, a recurring theme in this video will be level 60 first. Make sure you pick up these mons if possible, and then as you farm more, make sure you're updating the gems just to help with your clear times. So let's move on to B8 next. Alright, so back over here at B8, very similar setup to what you were running before, but we're going to run Wet Loki, Wet Odin. You can use your Wet Mona as a lead, and then Wet Valk. Once again, readdress their gems, get Loki and Mona up to 60 when possible, and then you should be good to go there. I would once again reiterate just using Wet Mona as a lead, but once again B8 is pretty much like the beginner's dungeon, so you shouldn't have any issues with that. And if I haven't mentioned it already, you guys, there is a playlist on my channel where you can check out stuff for dragons as well, so you can always take these crews and transplant them over there to dragons and give them a shot there. And mostly they should work, because you have a Wet Odin, you have a Wood Indra, so that takes care of stunning some mons after doing a lot of damage to you, so hopefully you can get them down within the next turn. But let's move on to B9. Alright, so here we are at B9, and your B9 team would be Fire Arthur, Fire Draka. I have Fire Yuki here as a placeholder in case you want to use her, but her animations are number 1 super duper slow, and defense down can kind of make the AI a little bit wonky. Not saying that Arthur doesn't do the same thing, but his defense down, at least his only one, is on his 5-star skill. So you could swap out Fire Yuki with your Fire Merlin instead, since he is a decent wave clearer. Not the best in the world, but considering using what you have, it doesn't really matter. And of course, Dark Harley is here to carry the squad once again. So it's very important that you get your Dark Harley gemmed up properly, get her to 60 books if you have it, etc. Because she will be carrying your butt through a lot, and not only that, but Fire Draka will also be carrying your butt through a lot. So for the last golem recommendation, let's head over here to B10. Alright, back at B10, here is a team that I'm kind of struggling to set up for you, but I did the best that I could with the mons that I could see. But anyways, we have Fire Draka here as your classic wave clearer, because I don't think you're at a point where you need to rely on your Nike to do this content. Wet Miho is serving as a sapper, which I do recommend if you want to run 2 sappers, that you either get lucky and pull another sapper, or maybe start working towards a second Wet Miho, or use someone else similar to her that has double sap on them and bring them in here. Dark Harley is here serving as another wave clearer for you, even though she's technically not a wave clearer due to her typing. It's better than nothing at this point in time. And then we also have Fire Arthur to kind of round things out a bit. He does stunning, but his main selling point is just applying defense down to everything. So hopefully Dark Harley can do a little bit more damage, and hopefully Wet Miho can do a little bit more damage. But you could always drop him and put another sapper in here, and you should be good to go as far as B10 is going on. My other suggestion is you could run like with a full nuking team, but I'm not sure how well that will work out. Like, you could always just drop Wet Miho, run in with your Water Valk, and then let's say Fire Arthur, or whoever's the strongest out of your nukers, which preferably mines that have Hunter on them is what I'm referring to as nukers. So someone like Fire Leo, which you don't have at the moment. Even Fire Yuki could work to help give defense down to everyone else, but you already have your Wet Valk there. So pretty much any of the hardest hitting mons that you have, you could throw into this segment and just run full nukers if you don't want to do sappers. But the issue is that you are going to be using sappers for B11, so why not go ahead and build them now? Just FYI. You could also throw in Fire Merlin here as another wave clearer. He has Hunter on his 5-star skill, so there's nothing wrong with that. But that's pretty much it for Golems. Once again, I can't state this enough. There is a lot of work to be done here. I don't expect this to happen overnight, but you need to get your gem quality down pack if you're going to continue forward in the game and have a good time and not make every task super daunting for you. But yep, that covers Golems. This should take you, depending on how much you play, maybe a month or two until you're B11 ready. But at the very minimum, I would work on getting B10 ready. You could skip the other Golems, but there's also good templates for you out there already and provided in this video that you can use for dragons as well. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on. Alright guys, we are back to your mon box, and we're going to discuss Titans next. Now you requested like possible Titan teams for you, and from what I could see, there's really nothing viable for you in any of the Titans. I'm not saying that you can't do Titans, but you literally have like one Sea Striker per element, which isn't really going to cut it. So I do have suggestions for you towards the future for Titan teams, so hopefully we can get some things straightened out. So starting off with your Fire Mons, in terms of Wood Titan, I didn't see any Sea Strikers at all. Not a Fire Shinobi, not even a crappy Fire Incubus. No one of that nature. It's not your fault. You're level 42. It's not a super big deal. But my best suggestion for the future is for you to work towards getting 2 Fire Curas, pick up 2 Fire Cupids if possible as well, and pick up any optional Sea Strikers in the future if you're hell-bent on Titans. So if Incubus comes back, pick him up. If Verde comes back, pick her up. Whatever Sea Striker that you can get, pray to the gods that you get a Shinobi. And last but not least, I didn't see the free Wukong that we all get from the Heroes Dungeon. So what I would do would be to start farming Heroes Dungeon, to pick up that Fire Wukong, to go ahead and get more of your team solidified here. And now I almost called him Gilgamesh, not Gilgamesh. I almost called him Sha Wu Jing, but I had to catch myself real quick because I was like, hold on, is that Sha Wu Jing? But we all know that I get them confused, even though some of you guys state I don't see how you get them. I don't see how you can get them confused. Just FYI. But let's go ahead and move on to the Fire Titan next. Taking a look at your water mons at the same time. Once again, yes, I am reading notes because this is a lot, but I didn't see any Sea Strikers here other than your Balrona, which we can see that she's a work in progress right now. She is 100% work in progress. Her gems look fine, just obviously need to raise the quality up on those, get her to level 60, enhancements and trinkets, etc. But what I would recommend for your future Fire Titans team would be for you to pick up 2 Water Shellies. I highly recommend you pick up at least 2 Water Sand Wraiths for now, because that's better than nothing. Also pick up 2 Water Katins, and then also pick up an extra Water Siegfried. That way you're going to be pretty much covered in terms of debuffers for Fire Titan, and you just need to rely on getting some more Sea Strikers. But you can always use Water Sand Wraiths as placeholders until you get something better. So that should definitely increase your Water Titans damage right here. Not Water Titans, but Fire Titan, my bad. But that is my suggestion for there. Once again, the thing that's really holding you back is just Sea Strikers, but it's really not your fault because of RNG. But let's go ahead and move on to the Water Titan next, because that was a Fire Titan. So for the Water Titan, once again, I would start working on Hanas if you haven't already. Hannahs, whatever you want to call her. Start stacking those wood Hanas. Aim to get at least 3 or 4 if you're going in on Titans. I would also recommend you picking up 2 wood Phibians and also 2 wood Manicats to pair up with your Merlin. And once again, Merlin is the only one that you have at the moment, and this game is pretty bad with giving us wood Sea Strikers, which is unfortunately sad. But Wood Thor did come around recently, but I didn't see that you picked up any, so there's nothing that we can do at this point. But you can start building these mons in the future to work towards some more solid Titan teams. And then for Light and Dark Titan, the same issue is apparent here. There's just no Sea Strikers at all that you could really use to excel at that. But what my suggestion is for you, regardless of what Titan that you're doing, you could definitely run a similar lineup to this, which would be like a Shelly. Well, this is for your left lane, so you could run Shelly, Water Siegfried, and then Katyn for your left lane, and then for your right lane you could run a Sea Striker, Baby Shark, and Bast. And depending on what element that you're fighting, you could always swap out Bast with a Wood Hana or a Light Venus, etc. of that nature. Same thing with Shellys. You could always swap out Shellys with a mon that does defense down instead for that left lane. Now this would only give you coverage for your top lane because there's just not enough mons there for you to have a solid second lane as well. So even if you want to do it like that, you could always use what I suggested as your second lane and just run pretty much whatever that you have for your first lane. But I'll add this into the video just to give you a little bit more context of what we're doing here. But there's not really much we can do with Titans. Once again, I do suggest you picking up that Fire Wukong though, because he will help a lot. And if you're big and set on Titans, when the future comes around, if you can sacrifice Nat 4s to get the rebirth Nat 4s that are Sea Strikers, go ahead and do it. If not, at least farm out some Water Sand Wraiths and you will be very, very glad that you did. So next up we have Colossus. Alright, so we're back and we're going to be using the power of your imagination. We're going to act like this is Fire Colossus here, and I didn't see the other two mons that I'm recommending you to use at this point, but I do suggest you picking them up because you will also use them in Titans, which is great. But for Fire Colossus here, what I recommend is Water Valk, Water Balrona, a Water Shelly, and then a Water Sand Wraith. Now you're going to use Water Sand Wraith or your Water Balrona as the lead, just to increase your damage. Obviously I would pick Water Balrona because of her Nat 5 lead, but Shelly's going to come in there, apply defense down, and then you can use everyone else to hopefully nuke Fire Colossus down. It shouldn't be too much of an issue because Water Balrona is pretty decent in terms of damage, and Sand Wraith, when built correctly, will slay that dude, 100% slay that dude. For your second row, same thing can be applied here. Get any possible Sea Strikers that you have and also a defense downer and pretty much nuke, and you're done with Fire Colossus. Now these mons do need to be level 60, gemmed up properly, enhancements if possible, trinkets, skill books, etc. for this to go as smoothly as possible, but Fire Colossus should be doable for you in the future. Alright, next up, once again with the power of the imagination, we have Wood Colossus here. Very similar setup. We're going to use Fire Yuki as a defense downer, even though we're going to be bringing Draka in here. Fire Amayoji's main job is just siphoning the right Wood Colossus unit, just to prevent it from buffing up Wood Colossus. And then, once again, you need to get that Fire Wukong. That way Fire Wukong can also be applying defense down to the Wood Colossus. And also, hopefully once his SP bar gets full, you can start applying the Sea Striker move, his Courageous Strike move on his 5-star skill to help boost this battle up. Now this may take a while, but unfortunately that is the way that it goes when you don't have any Sea Strikers, which once again isn't your fault. It is just what it is. But for your second team, you could do something similar here where you have a defense downer, a SP siphoner, and then whatever that you have in terms of damage. I'm not sure how well Hades is going to do with his curse because curse is getting buffed, but you could bring in Hades here with your defense downer, and then maybe your Fire Merlin, and then someone else. But hopefully your first team will get the job done. Dark Harley is also able to be used for your second team as well, but hopefully your first team gets through it. If not, defense downer, 3 nukers / Sea Strikers, and that should be it for Wood Colossus. Alright, next up is Light and Dark Colossus. I'm going to pretty much keep these compositions the same because it is pretty much the same, just the obvious elemental swap, but it's still just nuking right here. So what we're doing is we're going to be running in with your Wet Bow as a lead because hopefully you should be doing the most damage out of your Sea Strikers at this point in time. We're going to have C-Star here as well, just a stable damage if you need her. You could always swap her out if you don't need her, but I just throw her in there. Next up is Dark Bulby here with the exposed weakness. Very, very important. And then my last recommendation is a Water Shelly once again for some reliable defense downs. Now you don't have to use Water Shelly if you don't want to, but once again, another defense downer, that's no problem at all. Really helps to speed up the run, even though, what is it? Defense down doesn't really apply to Light Colossus. It's up to you, but if you don't want to use Shelly for Light Colossus, you could always just throw in your Wood Merlin instead, and you should be pretty set with that. Now, you could also swap out your C-Star with a Fire Wukong here to have the defense down and Courageous Strike going, but right here we're going to be using your strongest Courageous Strikers paired up with Bulby's exposed weakness and defense down to hopefully get a lot of damage out of Light and Dark Colossus. Once again, this is for Light and Dark Colossus. The bottom team still runs the same similar composition that you have. Your strongest nukers slash courageous strikers, even if that's like your water sand wraith here, with a defense downer like Fire Yuki at the bottom. So Fire Yuki, sand wraith if you have one, and then whatever nuker that you have as well, even if it's your Fire Merlin or whatever, just to hopefully pick up the slack for your team. But those should be doable in the future. I'm not sure how good that this team will work, but at least with Courageous Strikers, your damage should be okay at the very, very minimum. But once again, these mons need to be level 60. You need to fix your gem quality. They need to be booked up, enhancements, trinkets, etc. You guys know the drill. Don't act like you don't. But that's my suggestion for Colossus. Do I think you need to focus on Colossus right now though? Absolutely not. There's a lot of work to be done. Colossus shouldn't be on your horizon, at least for the next month or two, depending on how much you play, because you have the mons, but it's time to put in the work if you want to get good, man. It's time to put in the work. Alright, we are back with some PvP suggestions. So for your defense team here, it's pretty standard. What we're running is as tanky as possible mons, hopefully once this video is over. But anyways, I have Wet Wildfang as your lead because of her critical hit. Decrease lead, which is very, very nice. Then next up is your Fire on Myoji because of her SP Siphon ability. That's very, very helpful from preventing other mons getting their moves off here. Wood Indra is bringing it around from the back though with his stun and thirst. And then Light Suck should be supplying the whole squad of SP if things work out. Now for your hidden mon for SP season, you could always be like one of those noob cake kids and run Fire Draka as your hidden. If not, you did have Water Odin here. Not a super big deal if you want to use her because she can stun the whole squad. But for SP season, I do like to focus on nukers coming out. So if someone does kill your squad, as long as your nuker is meaty enough, hopefully they'll survive taking any excess damage and can do some damage to that team before they end up dying. But I'll leave the hidden as your choice. But this team right here is just focused on soaking up damage if possible, and then hopefully spamming the squad, because Wildfang has stun and petrification. I forgot on Myoji's 5-star skill, but she does have SP Siphon. And then Wood Indra can CC as well with Wet Wildfang, and he also has Thirst, I believe. And then Light Suck can not only provide SP to the squad, but also provide some HP to the squad as well, making it not a unbeatable team, but hopefully a very annoying team, especially since there's a mix of different elements here. So running a mono element wouldn't be optimal for fighting your defense team. But once again, guys, I'm nothing more than a casual, so take my defense party recommendations with a grain of salt. So we're gonna go ahead and exit out of there though, and head over to your offensive team instead. Alright, we are back with your offensive team. What we have here is Light Leo, Light Yuki, Water Sha Wujing, and then Fire on Myoji. Fire on Myoji, pretty much any SP Siphoner nowadays, is pretty standard in terms of PvP. Just another way to CC another mon, even though you're not technically hurting them, because she you know, is going to be built to survive. You are taking SP away from them, so you can like prevent a mon like Light Arthur from getting his 5-star skill off, which is going to do some nasty damage. So those mons are always great to have. Next up is your Water Xiao Jing, who has, what was it, resistance down and steel. Once again, that's great as a CC'er because it prevents those mons from getting their moves off, and it also can set up for the other two mons on the team to hopefully get their moves to stick to that mon, because they're going to have lowered resistance, which is Light Leo and then Light Yuki. Obviously, you can just run Fire on Myoji as your lead. Not a super big deal. That's on Myoji, right? Is that on Myoji? Okay, yeah. I didn't want to get Sanzing confused because I'm only human here. But we would use Fire on Myoji as a lead, and then Light Leo is there as a CC'er, and then Light Yuki also serves as CC purposes as well as damage. So hopefully this is going to be a solid squad for you once these mons are built up. Once again, we're going to go through the freaking drill one more time. Needs to be level 60, bookable if possible, or booked up if possible. Level 60, booked up if possible. Trinkets, enhancements, like, rate, and subscribe if you haven't already. And hopefully this team should serve you well, because CC is pretty much the way to go here. That's what I do on auto, and this team at least has a pretty fair setup, especially with you not running mono elements to make things too terrible for you. But that's my suggestion. If you guys have any more suggestions, let me scroll through his mon box really quickly here, and feel free to drop that in the comments below, because your boy isn't always right, and there's some more pro gamers out there that have better recommendations than me, because they actually placed pretty high in PvP. But I can't because I work during the end of PvP. Alright, we're back with Tower of Chaos here because this was something else that you wanted to know what you could do to better suit yourself for Tower of Chaos. Pretty similar composition here to what we were running before in terms of PvP, but what we're doing is Light Yuki, Light Succubus, you can use her as lead because she is variant, Fire Draka, and then Light Leo. So the name of the game is to nuke and CC here. Light Suck will be able to provide SP to the whole entire squad. Fire Draka is the obvious nuker slash wave clear. Let me clarify that, wave clear, not nuker. And then Light Yuki can also bring in some CC action with her shocks. And then Light Leo will come around the back with the morale boost and the stuns. So if those mons don't die from puncture, or if they don't die from shock, well, congratulations. Hopefully they are stunned. That's the name of the game here. And this team should suit you fairly well, especially since Light Leo and Light Yuki will hopefully get some aggro taken off of them because of Light Succubus being there and built fairly tanky. Now, if you don't want to run a composition like this, which I would recommend you do so, you could always drop maybe Light Leo for your Fire Merlin instead, just to run 2 wave clearers. And that's another suggestion for you as well. But I think Light Leo, Light Yuki, and Light Succubus has you pretty much covered in terms of that. And once again, Fire Draka is just there for raw damage. But a composition similar to this should work as well and get you through Tower of Chaos. I'm not sure if you can auto it, but my prediction is that if these mons are built the way that they should be, shouldn't be a problem. But obviously Evo 3 in the future for these mons, and you know, we've already went through the drill, so I'm not going to say it for this segment. But alright guys, we are back here at the home screen. I just wanted to provide hopefully a brief summary for what's going on with this account. I do apologize that this video was so long, but there's just so much that needed to be addressed here, and I really want you to hopefully one day ascend to being a pro gamer in RJ and just pass me as a filthy casual. But the main selling point here is just to learn how to gem your mons up properly. You guys will see in my videos that I have gem recommendations for mons that you don't necessarily need to follow. But if you have no idea, feel free to check out one of those reviews. I have over 100 of them, so I have at least, I don't know, 85% of the mons in the game reviewed for you already. You just have to watch the video. If not, there's other resources where you can check that out at. And if you don't want to use other resources, as I stated earlier, test it yourself and find out what works for you. But I will tell you that recovery, HP on Fire Merlin does not work for anyone. It 100% does not work on anyone. So NRJ, focus number one on just re-gemming all of your mons. Like, you need to go through and just clean out house and get those mons gemmed up properly, which is going to be some golem farming, but you know, if you want to be good, you're going to have to get that done. Also address all the mons that I have shown you in these examples of what you need to start getting to level 60 as you continue to play the game, and make sure you just do the entire drill there to get those mons up to where they need to be. My other suggestion to you though would be, you know what guys, I lied. These are my only suggestions. I think I've covered enough in this video, so yeah, see you guys. Also, if you want an account review done, make sure you join the Discord. The description box below, that's why I'm pointing down. Click on that, it'll take you over to the Discord, and we can set up a time and date for your own account review being done. But once again guys, please come to me with an idea of what you want done in your account. Don't say, hey, can you take a look at my mons? Hey, can you take a look at this? It's very, very general, and it doesn't help anyone out. If you want an account review done, join the Discord. Say, hey Eileo, can you take a look at Golems? Hey Eileo, can you take a look at Colossus? Hey Eileo, can you take a look at PvP? Hey Eileo, can you take a look at the whole account, because I have no idea what I'm doing. Just specify what you want done, and that gives me an idea of how we can work together to hopefully bring your account to the next level. But yeah, once again, that's pretty much it.